Voice leading doesn't have to apply specifically to leading chord sequences, right, or chord progressions. It doesn't have to apply directly to that. I could also be talking about voice leading lines as I'm playing. So one of the things that I like to do when working on a song or a chord progression is figuring out ways how to lead one chord to the next. And in this case, what I'm going to do is focus on the same chord progression I focused on before, which is the first four chords to Humpty Dumpty, where I have an E flat major 7, D major 7 going to the G flat major 7 to the F major 7. And one of the limitations I want to set up for myself is that I'm going to use eighth note lines. However, the eighth note lines are not going to be in strict time. They're going to be more rubato as I'm allowing myself to improvise some lines, but also follow the format or the guidelines that I've set for myself of voice leading. And I'm doing this by either whole step or by half step. So what that tells me is that I need to come up with lines that have 8 notes to them and then resolve on a chord tone. Now the chord tone could be the 1, 3, 5, 7, but it could also be the 9, 11, or 13. And I could be as specific as I want, and I encourage you to do that. But for right now, I'm not going to be that specific. So let me play a couple things here and give you a sense of what I'm thinking about. So starting with E flat. Now, right here, I've landed on a B flat. The next chord I'm getting ready to go to is D, so I'm going to have to decide. Am I going to go to D, the A, which is the 5th, or maybe I go to the 13? So in this case, let's go to the 5. So I'm on the 9 of D. Now I'm getting ready to go to G flat, or the F sharp. So now I need to think, well, which direction am I going to go? So maybe I want to go to the 7. Now I'm going to go to F. Well, right below that's the 3rd. So let's try another one. Let's start with the 3rd of E flat. Let's see, 1. There's the 5th again. There's the 7. There's the 3rd again. This time, major 7 of D. The 3rd of the G flat. And the 3rd of the F. Let's try another one here. There's the 3rd. I just went, in this case, all I did was just go up a major 7, E flat major 7, and I went back to the root. I came right back down. There's the 3rd of D. The 9, the G flat. The 5th of the F now. So these are a few ideas, and what I'll sit and practice or explore is really just leading these in that kind of way and, harmonizing the chord tone that I hit. And I could expand it into incorporating wider intervals. So I'm not sticking to just a half step or a whole step. I could be more specific and say I'm going to focus on hitting particular chord tones. That way my line has to structure itself in such a way to accommodate for that. So I'm not doing leaps in my improvisation or exploration at this point. But sitting and doing this for extended periods of time, or even if you have 5, 10, 15 minutes of doing this, really starts to open up the fretboard and allows you to figure out ways to lead from chord to chord. And the other thing I would suggest is that you take some lines that you are finding as you're doing this and write those out. That way you can have those as your own bits of language to use over chord progressions. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.